Hello everybody, I'm Nora Burrows and I am back with my crumb bin. Let's take a little peek. There they are, the crumbs. When we were last together, we put some of these crumbs to make these little pieces, but today I think we can put these pieces together to make a finished block or maybe multiple blocks. I also want to kind of just piece together some of these single pieces to make more of these 2 pieces, 3 pieces, 4 pieces all together. So we're basically, what I'm saying is we're gonna keep going. In the last video, I had showed you that I had like one really big piece and we're just kind of putting that aside for now, but I also had these 3 smaller pieces that had been squared off, but they're not all the same size. But I did take a look at these earlier today and I think that I'm ready to put these 3 pieces together into one full block. So we'll do that as well. Let's take a look at the crumbs. We have 2 categories of things we made last time. So these pieces are, I would consider, on the larger side here. So we have a pile of these. And then the second category of things we made are, let me just get through these bigger pieced ones here. The second category are these littler pieces here. And so what I thought I would do to start is pick some pieces out of my bin to attach to these smaller pieces. And this time I'm going to do it randomly. So I'm going to close my eyes and pick out a piece. Now I'm doing this because I have a hard time with that. I really want to pick the perfect piece to go right here and the perfect piece to go right here. But so many of you in the comments said that you do your crumb piecing in the traditional way, which is just to kind of put random pieces together. So I thought that could be a little bit fun. It might not be fun for me, but it might be really fun for me. I wanted to try it. You'll just have to trust that I'm not looking. I'm gonna stick my hand way into the deep. Let's pair something with this one first. This is the Eiffel Tower and the floral fabric. Oh, and I have this. But I do have my iron right next to me, so I just hit that quickly with the iron. Let's attach that to the end there. And as I mentioned in the last video, I have my cutting mat right here. I have my sewing machine in front of me. And then I have my wool pressing mat on the other side, so I don't have to move. And since I have everything right here, I'm much more likely to use the iron and to trim these edges and things like that. So let's go ahead. You know I'm gonna chain piece these together because that saves so much time. Here we go. Now let's pick a piece to go with this. And I have this one. And I'm gonna put that straight edge right against here. And this is pretty straight, so I'm not gonna cut this. You know I love to trim my pieces. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? This piece on the edge is so tiny that when it gets caught in the seam allowance, there's gonna be nothing left. So I'm actually gonna trim this off and then put these together here like this. All right, next let's pick something for this piece here. We get this, that's kind of nice. You know, this pairing, this blind pairing, as I guess I'll call it. I'm just giving this an iron over on my right-hand side here. This blind pairing isn't so bad when you pick things that actually go, and it is faster. You don't have to think so much about it. I think this was gonna go with this. I just trimmed this to have a straight edge. I'm gonna put this along here, like that. Next, let's pick one for here. Now this is a pretty big piece here. So let's iron this first. Now this is where I start to not be so happy because these 2 fabrics are so close in color. I feel like they just blend, but I can put it like that. So let's do that. Let's send this through and then let's pick another smaller piece to go down here. I wonder if I could just put this. No, we'll pick a small piece for this one. No, we'll pick a small piece to go right on the end here. And now we're gonna pick another small piece to go on the end here. So let's see, hopefully I get a small one. What do we got here? You know what, let's just cut this piece and we'll make it smaller. I just cut this. I'll put these right sides together. And keep it going. Let's pick one for this. This is one of my favorite pieces. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces along the bottom here that are just so cute all together lined up. So let's pick one for that. Oh, we got this. This is pretty darn thin. This might be too thin for me to feel comfortable working with. This is a 1/2 inch. I'm gonna put this into my smaller bitty bits that I use for other things. Let's see. Okay, we got some pink and green polka dots. And then maybe I'll kind of attach it on that diagonal like that. And I do need to trim this straight. So I'll attach, I'm gonna trim this piece straight. And now I can attach these 2 pieces like that. All right, the last small one we made is this one. Let's find a good one for that. Into the scrap bin. And I got these 2. I just kind of pulled up. Let's look at this one first. This one I think is actually too small, maybe? I think this one is too small. Let's try and pick again. This one's big. Okay, so this is like a pink floral. So this is one that I would never pick to go with this. To me, it just doesn't go, but let's do it. Let's see how it looks. I just trimmed both of these edges, so we will attach right sides together and send it through. That's all I have for the pieces from last time I wanted to make bigger, but let's put some duplicates, or let's pair some 2s together to give us a little bit more options of what to work with. So let's just see. I'm gonna pull 2 pieces out. Actually, I'm gonna pull, okay, so I have this one that I'll match with this, and what I'm seeing here is, let's pair this with this. We'll use this as like one of these long strips that I can just put a bunch of pieces onto here. Let me iron these. And we'll send this piece through onto the top of this strip. Let's pick another one for this strip. Oh, I have another one of these floral pieces. I'm going to cut off this selvage, and you know I'll use this selvage for a selvage project, and attach this straight line right onto here. How do I want to do that? I'm going to attach it down here so that I can get it completely onto this end piece. And let's see if there's a smaller one that I can fit right here, like a tiny one. I might have to search for a tiny one. Is this one too big? Here, this one's a good size. Let's put this one on. And then we'll just sew these all the way down so that we now have 3 crumbs on this one strip. And just like we did last time, let's cut this strip off first so we can take a look at this. So we have this strip, and we're just going to cut the pieces apart that we sewed onto it. So here's the first one. We'll open it up. And we'll take these over to the ironing board and iron them. But I just wanted to take a little peek with you. That's cute. I really like that. That's kind of gardenish to me. And here's the last one. We also have all these here that we will cut apart. Let's go iron these open and see how they look. Here's the first piece. And as we iron these open, we'll try and pair these with some things. So I'm just going to kind of lay these aside. Oh, and I need to cut this one apart because both of these pieces were attached to this one strip here. Cut that. And I try not to have the same fabric too close together. So like I wouldn't want to have a block with these together because these 2 green ones would be too close to each other. But for example, I could do something like this and pair these ones together here. but I'd probably want to add on a piece to this one before I paired these. So that's just something to think about. This piece is not so interesting compared to all this, but I think it'll be okay. We'll work with it. Let me think for a minute. That could be cool. How about that? Let's do this. I'm going to put these two together over at the sewing machine. Now for this next one, I need a strip to come right down here. Let's see what I have. Let's see if something we've already made would work. No, I think I want to use a new strip, a couple new strips. I think I want to put this right along here, and I need something longer. How about this? Is this too weird? It's like this gold flecks on this black. Let's do it. I'm going to trim this so it's the right size, and I'll have to do one piece. Since I'm chain piecing this through, I'll have to do one piece, and then on the next round I'll put this other piece on. So I'll put this aside, and I'll try and remember what that's supposed to go with, but I will put right sides together, trim that up. That'll go through the machine. All right, we have more to iron open here. That's awfully cute. Let's put this gold piece right along here. Let's do that. This was the first one we sent through. I think it's the last one we have to iron open. Let me think about these pieces for a second. I want to see if we can put some of these bigger pieces we made last time together, like something like this. I think that's ready for that to happen. Let's do that. So I will trim here, and put these right sides together, and that will make a nice size piece. Now we have these ones that we made last time. We have 3. I want to add something onto this piece. I call this a boat piece because I think if you look at it at this angle, it kind of looks like a boat. But I want to secure these hearts because they're kind of just floating out there, and I feel like they're going to get gobbled up in fabric. So let me see if I can find something to put right here. I found this black strip that can go here. So I'm going to need to cut a straight line here. Let's do that. I'm going to cut kind of on a diagonal here. And then this piece will go right along here. We'll trim this piece. So this will go right there. I also have this piece that we worked on last time, and I think that same fabric, this strip, the leftover strip, I'll just put right across here. So I'll cut a straight line here and then attach this like that. For this piece, I want to go ahead and make this cut before I pick fabric. Let's do that. So as you can see, this is kind of all over the place. And the question may be, you know, how do you work off of that? Well, it's all in the straight lines. You just have to make a straight line, cut it, and let's pick a fabric. Since we're right here by the scrap bin, let's pick a fabric to go here. How about that one? That looks cool. This little piece will go back in the scraps, right sides together, and that will go through the machine. Now, what do we have left over here? Let's take a look at what we have made that doesn't have a pair with it yet, because it'd be nice to start putting some of these through. Let's take these back over and randomly pick fabric just to make them a little bigger. This is pretty big, so I'm gonna just put this aside. I think this is not ready for anything quite yet, so I'm gonna put that aside. But these other ones, let's take over to the machine and pick something for them. I have sewn all the pieces together that we talked about. They're obviously still attached to the machine because I was chain piecing them. And these are the ones that we weren't sure about, that we didn't really have something to pair these with. So let's go ahead and do some random pairing, which I thought was kind of fun. I'm gonna get this brown one out of here because I'm not crazy about that piece. Let's get that out of here. So let's see what we get. Let's do this one first. Let's see what we're gonna pair with that. Randomly picking, and it looks like I accidentally picked 2. Let's go with this smaller piece here. and we'll put it right along that. That'll be good. I trimmed both pieces. I'm putting them right sides together and we'll put them through the machine. How about this piece next? What will go with that piece? Ooh, this is kind of cool. You know what? I think it's too similar to this here. I actually am not going to use that. Am I breaking my rules considering that I'm supposed to be using this? I was doing the random pairing and I'm kind of supposed to be forced to put these together. If I was putting it together, maybe I'd put it on the side or like this. I just love this fabric so much that I don't want to waste it here. So back in the bin it goes. Let's pick again. And the next one I pick, I will have to use no matter what. Let's see what we get. Polka dots. All right. I'm going to go for it. Next up, let's see. What do we got that goes with that? Random piece. Oh, that works. Let's try and attach this here. I'm going to have to cut these to make it work. Let's try. They are both trimmed. I will put them right sides together. This piece, this is the garden piece. I thought it was kind of garden-y. Let's see what we get. Oh, this polka dot, this brown polka dot, that's also very garden. It's also very garden-like. I'm gonna attach it right there. Now, even though I'm not showing you, I am trimming all of my sides to be even before I put them through the machine. I know there's a lot of different opinions about if that's necessary. And I think typically, when you're dealing with small pieces, it's not as necessary to do that. Ooh, I almost took that off my machine. Darn it, I have one more to go. It's not as necessary. I got distracted talking. Let's pick one for this. But as your pieces get bigger, let's see what we have here. I picked this, and this is actually one of my least favorite fabrics. So I'm gonna break the rules again, and I'm gonna pick again. So that away that goes. Let's pick again. What do we got in here that's better? Ooh, I love this. Beautiful. So where is it going to go on here? Maybe right about like that. So like I was saying, you don't really need to trim. If it's a pretty straight line and it's two small pieces of fabric going together, you don't really need to trim. But as your fabrics get bigger, you are going to want to cut a straight line. So for example, let's get back to look at how much we sewed. This is crazy. Good for us. So when you start getting bigger pieces like this and you're sewing another big piece to one side of it, you're definitely going to want to trim. You're going to want to make sure it's a super straight line because otherwise things are going to get wonky, and not wonky in a good way, but wonky in a your quilt won't lie flat kind of way. Let's go cut these apart and iron them open and see what we get. When I first sewed this strip on, I had a little bit of extra at the bottom, so I just added on that little piece. And it wasn't random. I specifically picked it, not gonna lie. So let's iron this. Cute. These pieces are now getting large enough that we'll be able to start putting them into blocks. I think even on this round here, we'll be able to possibly square something off. This is so pretty, isn't it? I would make a whole quilt with these fabrics together. I love these colors together. This is like the weirdest one to me. I don't know how I'm feeling about this. It will blend into the full quilt, so it'll be fine. But this is not what I would have gone with. But that's a-okay. Sometimes it works out with this, you know, mystery pairing, surprise pairing, blind pairing, and sometimes it doesn't. That's cool. I need to put something here because as you can see, I messed up. Oh, you know what it is? It's that this brown fabric here, you can barely see it, was too small. So that's gonna get just eaten. I mean, you might be able to see a teeny bit, but this is pretty much gonna get eaten, the seam allowance. So I'll have to put something there, and that's okay. Here's the garden one. I used this brown polka dot fabric for so much stuff, and eventually I used the very last piece, and now all I have are little scraps, and so I particularly like this little brown, this brown piece here, because I used it so frequently. It just went with everything. So many of these pieces with the triangles look like houses to me. A house with a water slide. Here is another one. I paired this with the gold, but I had a little bit extra tail, so I just picked this little piece and we'll trim them apart. And now we have two. Those are really fun. The gold just adds a little bit of something kind of special and sparkly. The tip of the Eiffel Tower got cut off. That's okay. That's what happens with scrapping. You're not fussy cutting it to allow for seam allowance and such. You're just using what you have. I'm interested to see how this one looks, the black. This is actually Halloween fabric. I don't know what this writing is, but it's supposed to be kind of spooky and cursive-like. I think that's kind of cool. I think this one's coming together really nicely. Awesome. So here's the last one we have to iron open. This I think is our biggest, and I think we may be able to square this off. Let's see. Maybe not, but maybe. It's pretty big. So what we could do, let me think for a minute. I mean, it is big enough that we could, but I would like to maybe put a strip in some of these places to secure some of this, because I don't like having, you know, all these little seams right on the edge, because it's going to be more difficult to attach to other blocks. How about this? How about we put this, oh, it's not quite long enough, is it? Let's put this here. And then I do want to put something along the bottom to kind of secure everything. I did put these pieces on, here, I think we had it, how did we have it before? I think I put this on the wrong side. Oh man, I was supposed to put this green one down here and I put it up here. Now I could seam rip it and put it down here, but that is not what I'm gonna do. Actually, the reason why I was filming this was because what I was gonna say is that I thought I was ready to square it off, but what I realized is I don't want to lose this monster. So I do want to add something up here, like another piece up here, and then maybe coming down so that I keep the monster intact. Because what's going to happen is if I square this off now, like this with the ruler, let's see. Yeah, the monster is so close to the edge that it will get lost in the seam allowance. So I want to put another piece here. Perhaps this here, and then I'll have to make another kind of piece coming down this way. Okay, I figured it out. I'm gonna put this blue piece here. I'm gonna add a piece to the side of this already created piece so that I can put it on the diagonal and it'll come all the way up. And then I'll be able to square everything off nicely. I attached this piece here and I attached this onto the end. I'm going to sew it kind of like this, which I think this will look awesome with these fabrics kind of separated by this black strip. So when I do square this off, I'm gonna lose quite a bit of this. I'm totally fine with that. But let's sew this together and then we'll cut it. We have our nice big piece here and we're ready to square it off. So as I mentioned in the last video, I'm not trying to make this into a specific size block. I'm just trying to get it squared, and that way when I'm pairing it with other blocks, I can add things to it or trim if I need to connect it to another block. So I'm trying to square it off. So I think what I would like to do is kind of cut it on the diagonal here a little bit. I should probably think this through more, but I'm just gonna go for it. So I'm gonna trim this. Now what's cool is I have these pieces that I can now use to attach more scraps to, and these will become bigger blocks. So that's kind of cool. So let's now line this up along the yellow lines of the cutting mat, and my next cut will then be nice and square. So let's see here. Maybe Let's try this. Now I'll turn this over, line this top part against the horizontal yellow line. I'm going to come as far over as I can. This starts to kind of tilt up a little bit from this yellow line here. So I'm going to put my ruler right as far over as I can and trim. And this is now an awesome piece to be used again. One more cut and then we'll have our block completely squared up. I want to go as far over as I can. Now, the only sad thing is that I'm going to be losing this Eiffel Tower here, because if I go as far over as I can, it cuts it right in half. So I could, you know, even make the block smaller, but save the Eiffel Tower. But then I'm kind of coming through these little pieces here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a piece of fabric right here and right here, and I'll be able to make my block bigger. So look what I just discovered. This is the coolest thing. So this piece had come off of here, and this piece had come off of here. I need to add fabric onto both of these sides up here. So what I can do is take this piece here and this piece there. Actually, I think I want to do this one underneath. So I would sew this one on first, and then I would put this one on top, and then I can square that off. Then what I want to do, because I have a lot of seams going on here, especially right here, I want to put this piece of fabric, this strip, right there. Now I have one last cut to make. So we have straight line, straight line, straight line, and now we just need to cut right down here. And actually, I want to keep some of this black with this polka dot. So I'm going to come down a little farther, maybe like right here, and I'll trim right about here. And this is a nice piece I have now. All right. So here is our first block that we've done together. As our last thing is put these 3 blocks together, and this is going to be super easy. Actually, this is what I was thinking, is that I have this pretty long strip here, and then these 2 strips are about the same width. So I could put this one lengthwise and then these 2 horizontal, and I think that will line up pretty nicely. So what I'm going to do is put these right sides together, sew along here, and when those are put together, I'll put this piece to this piece. This is one solid piece now, and I could just go ahead and attach it to this and it would look like that, which would be nice, but part of me feels like maybe I should have a strip in the middle just because there's so many seams. Let me find a strip. Look at this awesome piece I found. This is one of my favorite fabrics. This is another one that I don't have any more of, and so I'm just down to the scraps. This will be perfect for right here. I'm going to square this strip off and then attach it in between those 2 pieces. And here's our finished block. I'm really, really pleased with this. It's looking great. Let's see how big it is compared to that other really big block that we started with. I think this other one is still a little bit bigger, which is fine. Part of me was wondering if at some point, not today, we could attach these together. Let's see. So it looks like this one is a little bit shorter, so we might need to add a strip across the top next time, but then we would be able to attach these 2 pretty large pieces together. So that's kind of exciting. So we were busy today. We accomplished a ton. We actually made some blocks, which is really exciting. So I'm going to post some pictures of these blocks at the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.